Chapter 2. Cassia. Kai said he'd meet me tonight, by the lake. When I see him next, I'll kiss him first. He'll pull me so close that the poems I keep underneath my shirt, near my heart, will rustle, a sound so soft that only the two of us will hear. And the music of his heartbeat, his breathing, the cadence and timbre of his voice will set me to singing. He will tell me where he has been. I will tell him where I want to go. I stretch out my arms to make sure that nothing shows underneath the cuffs of my shirt. The red silk of the dress I'm wearing slips neatly under the unflattering lines of my plain clothes. It's one of the 100 dresses, possibly stolen, that came up in a trade. It was worth the price I paid. A poem, to have such a piece of color to hold up to the light and pull over my head, to feel so bright. I sort for the society here in their capital of Central, but I have a job to do for the Rising. I trade with the archivists. On the outside, I'm a society girl wearing plain clothes, but underneath I have silk and paper against my skin. I have found that this is the easiest way to carry the poems. Wrap them around my wrist, place them under my heart. Of course, I don't keep all of the pages with me. I found a place to hide most of them. But there are a few pieces I don't ever like to be without. I open my tablet container. All the tablets are there. Blue, green, red. And something else besides. A tiny scrap of paper, on which I've written the word, remember. If the society ever makes me take the red tablets, I'll slip this up into my sleeve and then I'll know that they've made me forget. I can't be the first to have done something like this. How many people out there know something they shouldn't? Not what they have lost, but that they have lost. And there's a chance I won't forget anything, that I'm immune, like Indy and Xander and Kai. The society thinks the red tablet does work on me, but they don't know everything. According to the society, I've never been in the outer provinces at all. I've never crossed through canyons or run down a river in the night with stars sprinkled overhead and a silver spray of water all around. As far as they know, I never left. This is your story, the Rising officer said to me before they sent me on into Central. This is what you say when people ask where you've been. He handed me a sheet of paper. I looked down at the printed words. The officers found me in the forest in Tana, near my work camp. I don't remember anything about my last evening and night there. All I know is that I ended up in the woods somehow. I looked back up. We have an officer who was prepared to corroborate your story and claims she found you in the woods, he said. And the idea is that I've been given the red tablet, I said, to forget that I saw them take the other girls away on the airships. He nodded. Apparently, one of the girls caused a disturbance. They had to give red tablets to several others who woke up and saw her. Indy, I thought. She's the one who ran and screamed. She knew what was happening to us. So we'll say that you went missing after that, he said. They lost track of you for a moment and you wandered off while the red tablet was taking effect. Then they found you days later. How did I survive? I asked. He tapped the paper in front of me. I was lucky. My mother had told me how to identify poisonous plants, so I foraged. In November, there are still plants on the ground that can be used for food. In a way, that part of the story was true. My mother's words did come back to help me survive, but it was in the carving, not in the forest. Your mother worked in an arboretum, he said, and you've been in the woods before. Yes, I said. It was the forest on the hill, not the one in Tana, but hopefully it would be close enough. Then it all adds up, he said. Unless the society questions me too closely, I said. They won't, he said. Here's a silver box and a tablet container to replace the ones you lost. I took them from him and opened the tablet container. One blue tablet, one green, and one red, to replace the one I'd supposedly taken at an official's command in Tana. I thought about those other girls who really did take the tablet. Most wouldn't remember Indy. How she cried out. She'd have disappeared. Like me. Remember, he said, you can recall finding yourself alone in the forest and the time you spent foraging for food, but you've forgotten everything that really happened in the 12 hours before you went on the ship. What do you want me to do once I'm in Central? I asked him. Why did they tell me I could best serve the Rising from within the society? I could see him sizing me up, deciding if I really could do whatever it is that he wanted. Central is where the society planned to send you for your final work position, he said. I nodded. You're a sorter, a good one, according to the society's data. Now that they think you've been rehabilitated in the work camp, they'll be glad to have you back, and the Rising can make use of that. And then he told me what kind of sort to look for and what I should do when it happened. You'll need to be patient, he said. It may take some time. Which was a wise piece of advice, it seems, since I haven't sorted anything out of the ordinary yet. Not that I remember, anyway, but that's all right. I don't need the Rising to tell me how to fight the society. Whenever I can, I write letters. I've made them in many ways. A case out of strands of grass, an X with two sticks crossed over each other, their wet bark black against a silvery metal bench in the green space near my workplace. I set out a little ring of stones in the shape of an O, like an open mouth, on the ground. And of course, I write the way Kai taught me to. Wherever I go, I look to see if there are new letters. So far, no one else is writing, or if they are, I haven't seen it. But it will happen. Maybe even now there's someone charring sticks the way Kai told me he did, preparing to write the name of someone they love. I know that I'm not the only one doing these things, committing small acts of rebellion. There are people swimming against the current and shadows moving slowly in the deep. I have been the one looking up when something dark passed before the sun, and I have been the shadow itself, slipping along the place where earth and water meet the sky. Day after day, I push the rock that the society has given me up the hill over and over again. Inside me are the real things that give me strength, my thoughts, the small stones of my own choosing. They tumble in my mind, some polished from frequent turning, some new and rough, some that cut. Satisfied that the poems don't show, I walk down the hallway of my tiny apartment and into the foyer. I'm about to open the door when a knock sounds on the other side of it, and I start a little. Why would anyone be here now? Like many of the others who have a work assignment but who have not yet celebrated their marriage contract, I live alone. And just like in the boroughs, we aren't encouraged to visit one another's residences. An official stands at the door, smiling pleasantly. There's only one, which is strange. Officials almost always travel in groups of 3. Cassie arrives? She asks. Yes, I say. I'll need you to come with me, she says. You're required at the sorting center for extra work hours. But I'm supposed to see Kai tonight. It seemed that things were at last aligning for us. He was finally assigned to come to Central, and the message he sent me telling me where we could meet arrived just in time. Sometimes it takes weeks instead of days for our letters to go through, but this one came quickly. Impatience floods over me as I look at the official, with her white uniform and her impassive face and her neat insignia. Don't bother with us anymore, I think. Use the computers. Let them do all the work. But that goes against one of the society's key tenets, one that they tell us to from the time that we're small. Technology can fail us as it did the societies before ours. And then I realized that the official's request might hide something more. Could it be time for me to do what the Rising has asked? Her face remains smooth and calm. It's impossible to tell what she knows or for whom she really works. Others will meet us at the air train stop, she says. Will it take long? I ask her. She doesn't answer. As we ride in the air train, we pass by the lake, dark now in the distance. No one goes to the lake here. It still suffers from pre-society pollution. It isn't safe for walking in or drinking. The society tore out most of the docks and wharves where people long ago used to keep boats. But when it's light, you can see that there are 3 piers left in one spot, jutting out into the water like 3 fingers, all equal length, all reaching. Months ago when I first came here, I told Kai of this place and that it would be a good spot to meet, something he could see from above that I have noticed from below. And now, on the other side of the air train, the dome of Central's City Hall comes into view, a too-close moon that never sets. in spite of myself, I have a little stirring of pride and hear the notes of the anthem of the society singing in my mind whenever I see the familiar shape of a hall. No one goes to Central City Hall. There's a tall white wall around the hall and the other buildings nearby. The wall has been here since before I came. Renovations, everyone says. The society will open the still zone back up again soon. I'm fascinated by the still zone, and by its name, which no one seems to be able to explain to me. I'm also intrigued by what's on the other side of the barrier. And sometimes after work, I take a small detour on my way home so that I can walk next to the smooth white surface. I keep thinking of how many paintings Kai's mother could have put along the length of the wall, which curves back in what I imagine is a perfect circle. I've never followed it all the way around, so I can't be sure. Those I've asked are uncertain about how long the barrier has been here. All they say is that it went up sometime in the last year. They don't seem to remember why it's really here, and if they do, they're not saying. I want to know what's behind those walls. I want so much. Happiness, freedom, love, and I want a few other tangible things too. Like a poem, and a microcard. I'm still waiting for 2 trades to come in. I traded 2 of my poems for the end of another, one that began, I did not reach thee, and tells of a journey. I found the beginning of it in the carving, and I knew I had to have the end. And the other trade is even more expensive, even more risky. I traded 7 poems to bring grandfather's microcard from my parents' house in Kia here to me. I asked the trader to approach Bram first with an encoded note. I knew Bram could decipher it. After all, he'd figured out the games I made for him on the scribe when he was younger, and I thought he'd be more likely to send the microcard than either of my parents. Bram. I'd like to find a silver watch for him to replace the one the society took, but so far the price has been too high. I rejected a trade for a watch earlier today at the air train stop on my way to work. I will pay what's fair, but not too much. Perhaps this is what I learned in the canyons. What I am, what I am not, what I'll give, and what I won't. The sorting center is filled to capacity. We are some of the last to arrive, and an official ushers us to our empty cubicles. Please begin immediately, she says, and no sooner have I sat down in my chair than words appear on the screen. Next sort. Exponential pairwise matching. I keep my eyes on the screen and my expression neutral. Inside, I feel a little tick of excitement, a tiny skip in the beat of my heart. This is the kind of sort the rising told me to look for. The workers around me give no indication that the sort means anything to them, but I'm sure there are others in the room looking at these words and wondering, is it finally time? Wait for the actual data, I remind myself. I'm not just looking out for a sort, I'm also looking out for a particular set of information, which I'm supposed to mismatch. In exponential pairwise matching, each element is ranked by assigning an importance to each of its properties, and then paired to another element whose property rankings fit optimally. It is an intricate, complicated, tedious sort, the kind that requires every bit of our focus and attention. The screen flickers, and then the data comes up. This is it. The right sort, the right data set. Is this the beginning of the rising? For a brief moment, I hesitate. Am I confident that the rising, can bug the error-checking algorithm? What if they didn't? My mistakes will all be noted. The chime will sound, and an official will come to see what I'm doing. My fingers don't tremble as I push one element across the screen, fighting the natural impulse to put the element where my training says it should go. I guide it slowly to its new location and slowly lift my finger, holding my breath. No chime sounds. The rising's bug worked. I think I hear a breath of relief, a tiny exhalation somewhere else in the room, and then I feel something, a cottonwood seed of memory, light and flitting on the breeze, floating through. Have I done this before? But there's no time to follow the wisp of memory. I have to sort. It's almost more difficult to sort incorrectly at this point. I've spent so many months and years of my life trying to get things right. This feels counterintuitive, but it's what but it is what the Rising wants. For the most part, the data comes through quick and relentless, but there's a short lag while we wait for more of it to load. That means that it's coming from somewhere off-site. The fact that we're doing the sort in real time seems to indicate that there's a rush. Could the Rising be happening now? Will Kai and I be together for it? For a moment, I picture the black of ships coming in above the white dome of the hall, and I feel the cool air through my hair as I rush to meet him. Then there's the warm pressure of his lips on mine, and this time there is no goodbye, but a new beginning. "We're matching," someone says out loud. He breaks my concentration. I look up from the screen, blinking. How long have we been sorting? I've been working hard, trying to do what the Rising asked. At some point, I became lost in the data, in the task at hand. Out of the corner of my eye, I catch a glimpse of green. Army officers in uniform moving in on the man who spoke. I saw the officials when we first came in, but how long have officers been here? "For the banquet," the man says. He laughs. "Something's happened. We're matching for the banquet. The society can't keep up anymore." I keep my head down and continue sorting, but at the moment they drag him past me, I glance up. His mouth is gagged and his words unintelligible, and above the cloth his eyes meet mine for a brief moment as they take him away. My hands tremble over the screen. Is he right? Are we matching people? Today is the 15th. The banquet is tonight. The official back in the bureau told me that they match a week before the banquet. What has changed? What has happened that would make the society in such a rush? Data cold so near to the banquet will be prone to errors because they won't have much time to check for accuracy. And besides, the match department has its own sorters. The matches are of paramount importance to the society. There should be people higher than us to see to it. Perhaps the society doesn't have more time. Perhaps they don't have enough personnel. Something is happening out there. It almost feels like they've done the matching before, but now they have to do it again at the last minute. Perhaps the data has changed. If we're matching, then the data represents people, eye color, hair color, temperament, favorite leisure activity. What could have changed about so many people so quickly? Maybe they haven't changed. Maybe they're gone. What could have caused such a decimation in the society's data? Will they have time to make the microcards, or will the silver boxes stay empty tonight? A piece of data comes up and then gets taken down almost before I see it at all. Like Kai's face on the microcard that day. Why try to have the banquet like this, when the margin of error is so high? Because the banquet is the most important celebration in the society. The matching is what makes the other ceremonies possible. It's the society's crowning achievement. If they stop having it, even for a month, people will know that something is very, very wrong. Which is why I realized the Rising added a bug, so that some of us could match incorrectly without getting caught. We're causing further havoc with an already compromised dataset. Please stand up, the official says. Take out your tablet containers. I do, and so do the others. Faces appearing from behind the partitions, eyes bewildered, expressions worried. Are you immune? I wanted to ask them. Are you going to remember this? Am I? Remove the red tablet, the official says. Please wait until an official is near you to observe you taking the tablet. There's nothing to worry about. The officials move through the room. They're prepared. When someone swallows down a red tablet, the officials refill the containers right away. They knew they'd have to use these at some point tonight. Hands to mouths, memories to nothing, red going down. The little seed of memory floats past again. I have a nagging feeling that it's something to do with the sort. If I could only remember. Remember. I hear footsteps on the floor. They're getting closer to me. I wouldn't have dared to do this before, but trading with the archivist has taught me to be stealthy, sleight of hand. I unscrew the lid and slip the paper, remember, into my sleeve. Please take the tablet, the official tells me. This isn't like last time, back in the burrow. The official standing in front of me isn't going to look the other way, and there's no grass beneath my feet to grind the tablet into. I don't want to take the tablet. I don't want to lose my memories. But perhaps I am immune to the red tablet, like Kai and Xander and Indy. I might remember everything. And no matter what, I will remember Kai. They're too late to take him from me. Now, the official says, I drop a tablet into my mouth. It tastes like salt, a drip of sweat running down, or a drop of tears, or perhaps a sip of the sea.